Today I'm making a sofa table that can charge things. It has electricity. So most houses have electrical outlets like this, you know, scattered around the perimeter of the room. That's great for semi-permanent things like lights or stereos or whatnot. In our living room, on this wall, you know, the outlet is back here, tucked behind the plant stand, way in the corner. And you know, then there's the other one down here tucked behind the chair, and that one's tucked behind the chair, and that one's in a corner behind a chair and a table. They're not really meant for plugging and unplugging stuff all the time. Nowadays, when we sit on the couch, odds are you've got a laptop in your hands, or a phone, or a tablet, and you're sitting there with your devices, and that's great until the battery starts running out, and then where are you going to plug it in? You know, that's way back there or way over there. I thought about somehow attaching a power bar here at the front corner somewhere of the couch. And, you know, then you can sort of discreetly reach down and plug in your laptop or what have you. You know, that's certainly convenient. But on the other hand, you know, this is kind of a tripping hazard. So what I thought up is, could we somehow put an outlet or power bar here along the back so you can discreetly get at it, but it's still not in the way? And it's like, well, how would you do that? And then the actual building idea that I've got here is to make a table. We don't have a huge house, so I don't want a big table, but we thought maybe I could squeeze in a narrow table here, and then I would tuck an outlet down along the edges. So I went over to the computer. So this is mostly being hidden behind the sofa, so I just need a nice top. For the rest, I figured a plywood base would be fine. I think I'll paint it black. And I'll add an outlet at either end of the top. We want something really skinny, so I'm making it just 6 inches wide. And ours will be 68 inches long, which is most of the length of our sofa. And about 31 to 32 inches tall, so that it still is tucked a bit down behind the top of the sofa. By having a solid plywood side as opposed to open legs, hopefully there's less a chance of things rolling back there. We'll see. For the top of my table, I went into my stash and I found some ash boards that I could glue together. I mean, if I was lucky, I would have had a 6.5 inch board just sitting there. I wouldn't have needed to glue something together, but oh well. Easy enough. Throw my expensive clamps all over the place. Oh yeah. And just a little glue squeeze out. The end result is really nice. Got a couple of ridges that snuck in, so I'm still going to run it through the planer just to nibble off like a 32nd or a 16th to bring it down to a nice flush surface overall. And so with one quick pass on each side, it is beautifully smooth, and it is still a little bit more than 7/8 of an inch thick. I ripped my piece of ash to a width of 6 inches, and then I trimmed it to length, and at the same time I ripped some other strips that I'm going to use for rails underneath the top. Then I moved on and got some plywood for the ends, and I cut that down to 5 inches for the leg. I'm going to have 3 legs, one on each end and then one in the middle, because it's pretty long. So for these table legs, I don't want just one solid piece at the bottom, because that's a recipe for rocking. So I want to divide this into feet, and so I'm going to I'm going to tape these 3 pieces together so they can all drill them all at the same time and get the exact same hole in the same position and the same layout and all that. And I think I want, say, 1.25 feet. So let's make a mark there. And another mark. And let's see, let's have that go up maybe about 8 inches. I'm going to have angled feet, simple angled feet coming up. Cut those with either the bandsaw, or, you know, if you don't have a bandsaw, you could cut that with a jigsaw, or with some creativity, you could cut that with the table saw. So how does that look? I'm going to drill the circle here at the end because A, it'll look better, and B, it'll be, I think, easier than trying to come to a point. This needs to go along here. And the other leg is going to be like that. Definitely a very tall and slender table. I notched the middle piece. It can fit in somewhere around there. I haven't quite figured out haven't measured it. And I'll be adding a cross piece along the bottom somewhere. That'll be in the middle. That'll be later on. Trying to figure out what to do next. Do I paint the bottom part first? Do I glue it all together first and then paint later? So I put the top and the rails together and I left it clamped overnight. Trying to persuade the wood that's the way it wants to be. I'm not using. I'm getting to the bottom of the barrel with my wood stash, and this project is kind of an experiment too. So it's not like I was going to rush out and buy premium stuff. I'm just using what I've got, and the wood that I have, well, for instance, this is one of the rails. It's got this nice curve that way and a little curve this way. But it's like this is only a 2-inch piece. But my top also has had a little bit of a curve to it. That one kind of caught me by surprise. I thought I had jointed and planed everything. It's just a little bit of a curve to it, but so it's got a little curve this way. So all that to say, normally when I'm building a table type thing, I'll leave the top separate and I'll make the understructure and then I'll attach it together. But in this case, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue this all together and kind of turn it into an I-beam. So that will hopefully make it as flat as possible. And then I'll attach the legs. So, here we go. I don't want the piece slipping when I'm gluing it up, so I'm going to tack in a few brads. Drive them in there, and then clip off the ends so that there's like 1/8 of an inch of a point sticking up there. Gives me something to help hold the wood. A couple of grains of salt are not going to cut it right now. Adding a few spacer blocks here. These are just to help keep the wood parallel because the one board's got this inward bow. And now it's fun time. So now we're starting to get to the electric part of this project. So anyways, what I'm doing here is I'm tracing an electrical box so that I can fit in an outlet at the ends of the legs. Okay, it's the next day. I've got this mostly unclamped. I've still got a piece glued in the middle here. I painted all the legs because it's better to get that done now, and the hole's been cut out where the outlet's going to go. So like here, one of these is going to go on the end, and you can see the other one I've got clamped in position. They both have an outlet going in, so I'm going to have a cable running from here to the other end. So here the cord's going to be along the middle, and I also have a leg for the middle, and that means I want to cut a notch like this underneath it so the wire can get through. And I'll do that with a Forstner bit where I'll take this and I'll put it against another piece of wood so that the drill bit won't go wandering around, and then I'll drill through the piece. Then we can take this notched piece and we can fit it right here in the middle. Then I'll be able to feed a cable underneath there. And also when I was painting these, I taped off the bottom so that there's bare wood here so that I can attach it here. I'm going with the glue is stronger than wood theory, and I'm making a glue joint here between the plywood and the ash. I try not to be a joinery snob, but I do like to avoid visible fasteners usually. But in this case, I got this long skinny table. It's got 3 legs, and I've got this cross piece that I need to join. And basically that means there's going to be 2 cross pieces butting together on a fairly thin leg. And yeah, I chose 1/2-inch plywood because that's what I had. But that makes things complicated. And you know what? This is going to be hidden behind the couch. I'm just going to use screws. And since I'm a big proponent of if you can't hide it, then make it a feature. So I'm actually going to use these sort of brassy panhead screws that I had for another project back when I did that Torx versus Robertson, because these are actually Torx bits that I've just been hanging on to. Anyways, so I'm going to put those in the end. In the middle here, I'm probably going to pocket hole at least one of them, maybe both of them. And it's going to be hidden, and it'll be fine. People often obsess about what's the best way to do it, and well, what's good enough? What's going to hold the strength, and you know, what am I comfortable with? There's more than one way to do it. Battery's dying. You know, a little sanding, a little finishing, and then a little electrical. But first, a little chamfering. I got some finish on the top, so it's time to flip it upside down and get working on the electrical, which I'm really kind of reluctant to do in some sense, because you know, when DIY people start doing electrical stuff on YouTube, you're almost guaranteed to get flame wars in the comment section, which I really don't need. For one thing, in practical terms, like the electrical system in Europe is different than in North America, so, and the regulations are different, so things are going to go different there. But also, for a project like this, in a sense, the idea is more important than the application. The idea that, here, let's get a table and let's add an electrical outlet to it and tuck it behind the sofa. You could build yourself a table, get a nice extension cord with a fancy end on it, and, you know, find a way to screw it to the end of the table. You know, power bars are often come with mounting hardware, and you know, you have the same effect. I'm looking for, I want it to look nice and built in, so you know, I'm going to fit a box in there, and I'm going to have a nice outlet. I got 2 different kinds of outlets here. I got just a regular outlet, and then I bought one where it's got the AC as well as the USB connector. These are really quite expensive, so I only bought one. So, anyways, first thing I'm going to do is fit the boxes. So I cut these holes sized exactly for the box. I have the knockout here so the cord can come down to the ground, and then the other cord can go across to the other box. And I'll just screw through the side here. So of course I need to secure the cable as it connects from one box to the other. But these standard wire restraint things that I picked up, well, these nails are too long, so I pulled these nails out, and I'm going to drill out the hole and then use 3/4 inch screws. And yeah, I decided to skip showing the wiring. If you're going to tackle this, I'm sure you can figure it out. There is all kinds of resources about wiring. To sum it up, got the cord here. Wire goes to the first outlet, and from there continues on to the other outlet. And all that matters, let me plug this in. I got my little tester here. And the little tester's got 2 amber lights, which tells me that it's done correctly. And as you can see, I've now brought it upstairs and I've got it tucked in behind the couch. Let me pull it out a bit so you can have a better look at it. Somebody's already using it to charge a phone. It is just a simple, elegant little sofa table, tucks in here discreetly, gives you a little shelf that you can make use of, and most importantly, it brings power that is convenient to the couch while still being discreetly tucked away. And that's it for this one, folks. As always, I'd like to thank you for stopping by and spending some time with me. I hope you found something interesting or enjoyable. If you feel I've earned it, please hit that subscribe button and, check out some of my other videos, and we'll see you in the next one. Please, hit that I'm pointing the wrong way. Shoot. If you feel I've earned it, please use the other hand so that you're pointing this way in the camera.